This is the Beitong KP40D Elite wireless controller. Is it good for fighting games? Let's find out. Comes in this box right here. We got a USB-C to USB-A cable. It comes with 2 extra thumbstick caps, and these are taller than the default ones on the controller. In the package, you also get one of these guys. What is this funky thing? If you have one of these charging stands right here, you can pop this out, replace it with this guy. Now your new controller will fit perfectly on the old stand. What I have here is the 4K40, and this controller is just amazing for fighting games. In fact, it was #1 on my list of last year for controllers for fighting games. The D-pad on here is just fantastic. It's very clicky and tactile. It's great with 2D and 3D fighting games because it's got this floating D-pad here. I just love this controller. So naturally, I was very excited to get this new one. This is an updated version. As you can see here, the D-pad design is different. We got 2 additional shoulder buttons. On the old one, you only have 2 back buttons, but on the new one, you get 4. On the new one, they had this nice leathery texture to it. Very grippy and so nice. Just feels so premium. Whereas the old one, it's just plastic. You get a wireless dongle as well. Once connected, you get these really nice and subtle RGB lights. And this thing just looks fantastic. It looks gorgeous. From the leather handles to this great looking D-pad and the lights. It doesn't get any better than this. And in terms of build quality, this thing is solid as well. No creaking or cracking or anything. This is an Xbox style controller, so the handles are angled outwards. And it's long enough as well, so that way you get a pretty good grip on it. And your wrist here doesn't bend because of the angled handles. Very comfortable to use. Let's go around the controller. Let's start with the joysticks. These sticks are actually TMR sticks, so they're gonna last you a lot longer and you're not gonna have stick drifts for a while. You can see here there are these rings and you can rotate them to adjust the tensions. And this time the rings click. This is just so satisfying. On the old one, it doesn't click. You see that? It's smooth. And it doesn't look as nice. On the new one, it's a lot shorter and it just looks a lot better. Just a lot classier on the new one. If you crank it all the way to the max, the tension's is pretty stiff. And then if you loosen it to minimum, then the tension is super light. I like to just put it in the middle. Yeah, right about there. If you want longer stick caps, first remove the D-pad, then you can remove the faceplate and replace it with a longer one here. There we go. You see how this one's a lot longer than the default one. The stick tension ring here also allows the stick to rotate really smoothly. Honestly, moving forward, all pro controllers should have this ring here where you adjust the tensions. Because in some games you want more tensions, and in some other games like maybe platformers or something where you always constantly have to push it forward, you don't want the tension to be too much. It makes your thumb tired, so you want loose tensions, right? This is a fantastic idea. And this is probably the best implementation of it I've seen yet. The shoulder buttons and the triggers are Xbox style. You can click it from the outside to the inside. The triggers also have trigger lock. It's got medium tension, not too light and not too stiff. You also have 2 extra shoulder buttons here. I use these to jump forward and to jump backwards. This helps me do Jamie's instant dive kick really easily. The face button are micro mice switches. These are super quick and they don't have a lot of travel. Because the switches are so quick on the face buttons, it's hard for me to press the triggers and the face buttons at the same time to do overdrive moves. In fact, it's hard for me to even do this move right here, where I need to press 2 kicks at the same time and down. Yeah, look at that, it doesn't do it. You can see here that the face button always comes out first. Luckily, if you activate the trigger lock, it makes it a lot better. It's a lot better, but it's still not perfect. So what I do is I program each of these extra buttons to kick and punch. This way I can get it 100% of the time. See that?
Come on, it's time to train.
Speaking of these extra buttons, if you download this app here from their website, you can use this app here to program the back buttons. What's cool about this app is when you go to button mapping, as you can see here for the extra buttons, you can actually program 3 buttons at once onto one single button. How cool is that? More apps should allow you to do this. So here I programmed 2 kicks and 2 punches, so that way I can perform overdrive moves. And then also I can program diagonals as well. It's up right and up left. Now with the bottom paddle here, you can actually position it in different positions, 3 total. This is almost vertical. When it's vertical like this, it becomes kind of hard to reach. The middle angle, it's a little easier, but it's still kind of hard to reach. So the best position actually is when it's flat against the handles. Yeah, this is just a lot more comfortable. You also have an AI button here. This is not the home button. The home button's down here. With this guy, if you press it, it's gonna have a pop-up here with different things you can do. Honestly, this is not useful at all. I don't know. If you find it useful, let me know. There are a ton of other utilities to do this, and I get why they did this. It's this AI trend, right? And I hate it. I want this button to be the home button again, and then perhaps move these buttons, maybe somewhere up here or something, so I don't accidentally click them. Because sometimes when the controller is like this, I would grab it like this, right? And then I would accidentally program macros onto one of these buttons. Alright, let's get to the D-pad. This is a disc design, very similar to the Xbox Elite controller. However, this guy is rounder and this guy's got these edges. You would think that these edges will help you with cardinal directions, right? But in practice, they really don't, because this D-pad is kind of big. So most of the time you're going to be pressing it from the inside. You can't really use it on the edges. I'm not a big fan of this disc design. It's good for your thumb to slide it around, but you can't really feel where you're pressing. And it's the same thing here. Can't really feel where the diagonals are versus where the straight directions are. Now with something like this is still a floating D-pad design. This is still a disc design, but because of these raised buttons, I can really tell where I am on the D-pad. If I want to do a diagonal, just press my thumb in between the buttons here. But with this guy, I can't do that. And the other thing is this D-pad is really tall. Now, if you look at it from this angle, it doesn't look like it's that tall, right? But now if you compare that with the Elite controller, this is a lot shorter. Well, why does that matter? The longer the D-pad is, the looser it gets and the less accurate it is. If you compare the height side by side here, it doesn't look like it's that much longer than the old one, right? But this D-pad has to accommodate the faceplate. The surface of the controller is raised in order for this D-pad to sit on top of the surface here and also on top of the faceplate. They have to make this thing really long. Now I have the exact D-pad, and this is for the Pangu. You see the height difference? Alright, so this is without the faceplate. You can clearly see the difference now, right? At this height, it's almost as tall as the joystick itself. Might as well be a joystick. Look at this. Unfortunately, with the D-pad being so tall and also a disc design, this D-pad is not the most accurate D-pad out there. So this is what I'm talking about. Look at this. I have 4 times in a row here. I want to do diagonal back kick, right? Back comes down first, then the diagonal gets triggered. Okay, same here, back first and then diagonal. The good news is, since this is detachable, hopefully Beitong has plans to sell different shapes D-pad. I would love to get a diamond shaped D-pad for this controller. Now you can get used to it. It'll take you a long time though, and in the beginning you're gonna get frustrated because it's not very accurate. I did get better with it over time. However, as I'm using it, especially when I'm fighting against somebody who's really good, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna have a drop combo because I can't properly trigger a diagonal on this guy. Well now, if you're somebody who plays Zangief a lot, then maybe this D-pad is good for you. Because this D-pad is so tall and so loose, you can do circular motions pretty easily on here. Just like the issue I had pressing the face buttons and the trigger at the same time, the face button switches are so quick, and the D-pad, since it's so tall, it takes more time to travel to get triggered. That means the D-pad is slower than the face buttons. Yeah, look at this. So the face buttons get triggered first, then the directions come out. Knowing that, when you use this controller, make sure you press the D-pad first and then roll it into your face buttons. Kind of like that. So diagonal, and then you press the face buttons. Alright, let's go over to Gamepad Log to take a look at the input delay. For wired, button latency is about 2.5 milliseconds. The stick latency is 1.57. You get 1000 Hertz here. Jitter is pretty good, under 1 millisecond. And for the dongle, polling rate is still 1000 Hertz. Impressive. But the actual latency for the button is a little slower. It's 6.51 and 6.2 milliseconds for the sticks. And this is the perfect example that polling rate is not everything. Even though the polling rate is the same here, the latency is a lot different, right? On the dongle it's a lot slower than wired. Jitter is worse on the dongle, and on Bluetooth, polling rate is only 200 Hertz here. Button latency is 14.5 milliseconds. Stick latency is about 11 milliseconds. This is unplayable. Jitter is terrible here. And again, as usual, if you want the best connection, just play it wired. Alright, final thoughts. In many ways, this controller is way better than the old one, with the exception of the D-pad. This is an amazing D-pad. This one is an okay D-pad. Unfortunately though, when it comes to fighting games, I would still buy the old one over the new one. But if you don't play fighting games often, and you want a general purpose controller that would be good for any genre, and you want the extra features, the extra back buttons and stuff, then this is obviously the better controller. However, if you're like me and you just play fighting games, I would buy this guy and save some money. And that's really sad for me to say actually, because I was really looking forward to this controller being really good. This is actually the first controller from Beitong that has a D-pad that's kind of iffy for fighting games. I think they tried to jam so many features on here, including the AI, that they kind of forgot about the D-pad. But it's not all for lost though. All they gotta do is release a different shaped D-pad for people to buy. Something like this here, or a diamond shaped D-pad. I mean, what do you have to lose? This thing is already detachable. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed the video and found it to be helpful. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more, and take care now.